Hello and welcome to News in Brief on Vantage TV, where I bring you daily news updates on the stories that made major headlines from around the world. My name is Anita Macaulay. Do well to stay tuned. On the national news, resident doctors begin warning strike today. National Association of Resident Doctors (NARD) has called on the federal government to address its demands before the May 29th handover to a new administration, saying industrial harmony could not be guaranteed thereafter. It also sought intervention of the incoming government to avoid an indefinite strike that could cripple the health system. NARD President Dr. Emeka Orji made this known while briefing journalists on the outcome of the association's National Executive Council (NEC) meeting in Abuja yesterday. Federal government inducts outstanding professional females into Hall of Fame. The federal government has inducted 8 female achievers into the Nigerian Women Hall of Fame at the National Center for Women Development for their outstanding performance in their professional fields. Mrs. Pauline Talen, Minister of Women Affairs, while inducting the 8 women, commended the inductees for their contribution and exceptional feats. She urged them to mentor young folks to sustain the tides of women's development and participation. Talen also called on the state commissioners for women affairs to replicate the structure of the Nigerian Women's Hall of Fame in their various states to recognize and document the contribution of women at the sub-national levels. On to the international news. Singapore hangs citizen for trafficking cannabis. Singapore today hanged another citizen for trafficking cannabis, the second in 3 weeks, as it clung firmly to the death penalty despite growing calls for the city-state to halt drug-related executions. The 37-year-old man, who has been in prison for 7 years, was executed after his last-ditch bid to reopen his case based on a DNA evidence and fingerprints that tied him to a much smaller amount, which he admitted to possessing. But the court rejected it and was dismissed without hearing. Under Singapore laws, trafficking more than 500 grams of cannabis may result in the death penalty. UKADO president's impeachment trial begins. UKADO's president, Guillermo Lasso, has asserted his innocence over corruption charges at the impeachment trial being held in the National Assembly. Mr. Lasso, age 67, has been accused of embezzling funds from public companies. The conservative leader told the opposition-controlled parliament his accusers lacked evidence and suggested that the trial was politically motivated. Impeachment proceedings last year failed to garner enough votes to make it to the trial stage, but last week, 88 out of 116 lawmakers present voted in favor of the trial going ahead, enough for it to take place. That's the size of the package on this edition of News in Brief on Vantage TV. For more updates, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.